Hello, welcome everyone in this beautiful sacred space that we have created together with Lofty. Today is our um, first live stream on Divine Union, and what is it about? This show I have created with intention for us all to really acknowledge the divine I am presence within our own unique heart desires and really shift the value of life within the divine union within us, because within each of us we have the feminine and masculine energy, and when the both unite for the sacred heart, we expand the divine I am presence within our life, and then the life will be smooth and easy journey. So for today, we are going to explore the sexual intimacy, and it is a really important part of the energy within the divine union that we all have within us. And literally, since we are born, we come from the sexual energy. So it is big um, essence within every single one of us. And when we embrace it and shift the value of life on our sexual self, then we allow more the divine I am presence to emerge through the divine masculine and feminine within us. So my guest today is Lotfi, and would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
So my name is Lotfi Machj. I generally help people to boost their lives, and I do that both on the private side and also on the business side. And I do both because they're very interconnected. If you are out of balance in one, then automatically you will not have the balance in the other. So I use for that my intuition, hence I created the company intuitiv.me, because I use my intuition to actually work with the people to feel how to guide them, what to ask, also how to trigger, so that they can actually reach their blockages and lift them so they can move forward. Because in the end, the only thing that holds us back is the blockages that were installed through society, through genetics, through family lines, through belief systems that were also put on us. And those hold us back from being the great people we can be, both in our private life, in our creative life, in our work life, also in our love life, in our intimacy, what we're going to talk about today. We find, all the wounds that we're collecting over the years, they can block us in all these areas. And
the
really
sexuality, sexuality is such a big part, right? Because it's such a
yes,
wounded aspect of the feminine energy, right? Because actually sexual energy is part of the feminine essence within us. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely a big part of of us really allowing ourselves to really be seen and really own the value of the sexuality and the sexual intimacy within us. So let me guys just let me just explain you first how we got in contact. Lotfi contacted me a while ago. Then we had a chat.
Oh, okay, I don't remember who was.
Yes. Then we had a chat, and then a few months later, you contacted me again, and then we had another chat, which actually we start to talk about sexuality, right? And you have quite interesting story that we definitely gonna be exploring in a much more depth in the next live streams. But tell me, what's your experience with sexual intimacy and how you've come to acknowledge that, the divine presence within your sexuality?
Sexuality has been part of my life from a very young age. My first memory of having a sexual feeling was the age of 4, I believe.
The age of 4, and you can remember?
Yes, because that was a moment that, was very intense. I felt a pleasure sensation, but I also felt I had to hide it.
Yeah.
So the shame and the taboo of society was already implanted in me.
It's
And
interesting, how as a 4 years old child, this collective field, because sexuality is individually within us, but also it's in the collective field, and how the collective field was really affecting you.
yes, because it was not from the home situation, because we were very free and liberal at home. Walking around naked coming out of the shower was a normal thing. It was not like, oh, there is shame or taboo. So it was either collective or it was in the ancestral line. And
Which could be also both, right?
Yes, I know that at least on my mom's side in the ancestral line, there was a big blockage and taboo on sexuality, mixed with religion and all kind of beliefs.
Okay. May I ask what religion your parents from? What type of religion?
My mom was Protestant, so Christian Protestant, and my father is Muslim, but a liberal Muslim, very open-minded. Otherwise, they would never have met. And so I was raised with both religions, and that gave me different perspective. And when it comes to sexuality, my mom taught me from young age, like you explain to children things. But then towards adolescence, she was basically teaching me not to have sex until getting married. Because she got married as a virgin. And I was like, And when you tell that an adolescent is like, hell no. But okay, I didn't say that to her. I was just listening and respecting her in a way, but the other way I was thinking like, as soon as I'm out of the house, I'm gonna do that and that and that. And that's also what I did. It was also her big fear. But the main thing and the reason that we're talking today and we didn't start talking years ago is that a lot happened in my life, and we'll talk about that in a separate life. But in the past year and a half, I went through a transformation that led me to really get in touch with the feminine inside me, and bring the masculine and the feminine together. This resulted in first experiencing a total shutdown of my sexuality. So my best friend with whom I was talking a lot was laughing and making the joke like, oh that's really good. You tell your clients, come work with me on sexuality and then you will lose your sexuality. I was like, no, I should not tell them.
But can you let us know a little bit more what was your relationship with sexuality before that?
Basically what they call addiction. And I've come to realize I was no exception in that. But I realized that when I started to open up about it. And then I started to look around, and some people may know the movie Shame. That one depictures 80% of how I led a big part of my life. And so what had to happen for me to really make a transformation was literally a reset. Everything had to come to a full stop. And I really was like, okay, I'm turning 48 this year, and okay, nothing is working. I know women have a menopause. Do men have a menopause? But it was just the reset, because everything had to come to a stop so I could start fresh. And the start fresh started with first me getting truly in contact with my second chakra, which is the life energy chakra, the creative chakra, but also the sexual chakra. And that's also when I realized why I so much love the color orange. It's the color of the sexual chakra, and sexuality has been really important in my life.
Yeah, so when you said you got in contact with your sacral chakra, have you done like a practices? What did you do?
It just happened. It happened when I decided to change something in my life when it came to my sexuality. And because there was the lack of trust in my sexuality, that I was getting in trouble by acting or by not acting, or avoiding situations because I didn't trust myself, which also did impact my business. So when I decided, okay, I will stop being in fear and I will start to trust, and also trust that what will happen needs to happen anyway, so I can try to run away from things, but if I need to experience them, they will happen anyway. And due to that trust, I started to meet women, and while meeting them, I would finally understand what my second chakra was telling me. And I realized later that what I had been experiencing is what most men and also most women experience. When the sexual chakra activates on the frequency of sexuality, people think, oh, I need to have sex now. So if it happens while standing in front of a person that you may be attracted to, or not even really attracted, but let's say you're heterosexual and you're a man and it's a woman in front of you, then and if that activates, you feel like, oh, I need to have sex with this woman. But that's simply because we do not understand what the chakra is saying, because we're not really connected. And so what changed is that I would hear what it was saying, and I could see like it's sharing now that this woman has a wound on the sexual chakra, for example. These were the second and the third woman I met from the moment that I decided to not be afraid anymore. They had a wound. With another one, I realized, okay, she has sexual feelings for me, but these are not my feelings, so I don't need to act at all. Where back in the days, I would have reacted to that. So I could really see and sense what is really happening, which energy is at play.
Yeah, so that's actually really interesting and very fascinating. I would like to actually kind of have a visualize that more. So just to make sure that I understand that and our audience understand that also. So you had this, you've been with, you had the sex, you are a sex addict, right? So you needed, you were feeling often, right, the desire to have a sex, and then you connected with your sacral chakra. And then you start to feel really communicate with your sacral chakra and ask each time when you feel the sexual desire, what is it about? And then you are finding out that actually sometimes you're picking up on someone's emotions, they're not even yours.
Yes.
How amazing is that, huh? I never actually thought about it to communicate with chakras. I'm going to practice that now. That's amazing. And you know what? So how? No, I really actually I'm really love that. I never thought about it. And you know, for us, for light workers, healers, it's just so easy to pick up on stuff. And I know personally that I have my own, you know, disadvantage with that, picking up on people's things. I'm becoming more aware to this now, and I start to ask myself, you know, more often if that's actually my emotions or my feelings or not. And it is that's the works amazingly that when you ask and you get no, then I just say, okay, I just to disconnect from this, and it just dissolves, like, you know, because that's
Yes, the trick is to go inwards, to just be silent for a moment and just feel. Go to that spot where you feel it in your body, whatever it is you feel, if it's sexual or something else, even if it's, let's say you feel heart pain, and you go to your heart and you feel, is this mine? If it's sexual, you go there to your belly and you feel, is this mine? Or what is it?
Can you do like the like short one, maybe like 5 minutes visualization connection with the sacral chakra, for example?
Yeah, I can do that, I guess.
It's just like a 5 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, okay. for those watching, just close your eyes and put one hand on your belly, just beneath your belly button, and one hand on your heart. And I will explain in a second why. And just breathe normally and go with your attention first to your heart. And feel the love that is in your heart and let it expand. And let it fill you up. Let it warm you up so that you start to feel great. And why it's filling you up, it's automatically connecting with all the other chakras. Then visualize a flow coming out of your heart, going down to your second chakra, where your second hand is. And from there, let the flow go up like in a loop back to your heart. So the two are connected. And now go with your attention to your second chakra and feel it. And let it start to expand and to radiate. This way it will start to share in the flow, and the energy will be mixed. It will be a sexual loving energy, which is first of all the creative energy. The energy that will help you make a drawing, make a painting, take pictures, create a sculpture, build something, design something. And then it's also the energy of creation of life. And for life to be beautiful, it needs to be mixed with love, needs to contain love. So these two chakras need to be connected for that reason too. When you want to conceive a child, please do it from love. Do it with an open heart. And the child will know this. Will know that this happened, that it was created from love. And there is also the sexual energy, the sexuality as we know it, the attraction, the desire. If there's no love in it, it's empty. It's boring in the end. It's not fulfilling. You can orgasm, but after a few minutes, we need to take a cigarette or start watching a movie or do something because we're empty again. Or we need to eat, feel hungry. But if love is involved, then we get love making, we get intimacy, we get tenderness. Then we start by caressing, by hugging, by gently kissing. And we may even end up making love and not remembering anything, just having a wonderful feeling afterwards, which can last up to 2 days. This is no joke. It's about connection. And that's one of the first steps that you need to take if you want sacred union in your relationship. But also the sacred union within yourself, the male and the female. And connecting the heart chakra with the sexual chakra plays a crucial role in this. Because about unity. unity within us. And for those who have been digging deep into the chakras, they know that originally we were one chakra, and we will go back to being one chakra only and not having 7 separate chakras. But for the kind of experiences we wanted in this life, in this 3D realm, we needed the separation and the polarities. But in the end, it's all about coming back to union, sacred union within us, sacred union with the others, through sexuality, through friendship, through love, through all kinds of relationships we can reach this. And the sexual energy plays a role in almost all our relationships, in everything we do. The second chakra is involved because it creates, it builds, it connects. And if we do not connect it with love, it can also divide. So the easiest thing to do, to start with, if you're not used to this, is just put your hand on your heart, put your hand on your belly, and visualize a flow of both points connecting with each other. And later on you can start to upgrade that and do more, but this is the easiest way to start. Everyone can do it. Just feel for a moment in silence how that feels, that connection.
That's so beautiful, and just with this connection, you can feel how the energy has shifted towards more intimacy, which is our topic, right? And then the sexual intimacy. So, what's your experience on that?
Limited, to be honest, in practice with another person. I did experience a few times in my life the very real divine lovemaking. And the funny thing is that I barely remember the details. I just remember the feeling I had in the moment and afterwards. And that's because the mind goes to sleep at that moment. You're completely in flow. And we talked about flow before we started the call. And flow is needed. It's like when you have water that's stagnant, it starts to rotten. But the river, when it flows, if there's no pollution, it's clean water. It has a fresh smell, like rain. And when it comes to lovemaking, we also need to be really in flow. But when it comes to intimacy and sexuality, and I have been celibate now for over a year, which is a record for me, especially with my history. But I really enjoy it now, and I refuse to just go out and have sex just like that, because I know it's empty. It's not going to feed me. It's not going to feed something in here. So I'm waiting till I'm ready, and then I'll meet somebody who's also ready to really have that experience where there is a union in the moment. It could be a one-time thing. It could be something lasting, but that's irrelevant, because those experiences I had one time was with somebody who just came on my path for one day, and we both healed each other during that night. Big wounds we had from intense relationship that broke up, and that evening we met with our zero intention. I was not even in the mood for anything. But at a certain moment, things started to happen. Conversations started, and it got deeper and deeper and deeper. And we literally moved together, and then things happened. And that's also how I experienced an orgasm without physically ejaculating or anything. It was just the energy that flew through me. And I was very happy because we didn't have, it wasn't prepared, so we didn't have protection or anything. So thank God. And the other times it was in a relationship, and yeah, so it doesn't matter how it happens, but when the moment is right, you just melt together.
Yeah.
But the true intimacy I also experienced in just having a talk with somebody, not even talking about sex. Just have a great talk, and I realized that many months ago, that after a talk of 2 hours with a friend of mine, I suddenly started to feel like after one of the greatest love makings ever, and I was like, hey, how's this possible? That energy is not between us. We didn't talk about sex, and then I realized no, it was about, and the Dutch language says very nice. In Dutch we say being free. That is how you say lovemaking. And so I realized I was totally free in being myself in that conversation, but on such a deep level that it got me to that experience what we have when we have sacred lovemaking.
Yeah.
And those 3 times that I had the sacred lovemaking was when I totally felt free and was 100% myself.
And that's what it is
That
about.
is what it is about, yeah.
Yeah, the divine union within us, right? When we collaborate through our pure heart desire. And I believe that, every person we meet, either that this is a man or a woman, their intimacy comes through the unique heart desire. And the depth of the intimacy we have with one another, it comes from literally the unique sacred heart, right? Sometimes we tap into someone from the mind because of our needs, right? Of having connection with someone. But when we have this connection in alignment with our unique heart, right? With the power of the heart, that's when we tap into deep connection, right? And that is for you guys who just came in and you knew, I mean, this talk is all about the divine union within us. And each person, each aspect of our life and situations, relationship with others reflects the kind of reflects the relationship we have within us between our masculine and feminine energy. So this intention for this show is really to increase the value within the feminine and masculine energy, so we can bring the oneness within us and expand the connection to the divine, so we can shine through our unique hearts and make a difference in this world for whatever you dream and whatever your dreams are. So thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments. How do you feel about sexual intimacy? And also, sexual intimacy comes hand in hand when we're in a relationship. Because, I've been in a relationships when there was connection on the emotional level, but there was not necessarily much connection on a sexual level. You see? So the intimacy, the sexual intimacy wasn't that active within the space. And I feel also that for women, they find it more challenging to connect with the sexual intimacy because they like the connection with another person, right? They like to know and get emotionally involved with another person, where with the energy, the masculine energy, it might be slightly a different way of perceiving the sexual intimacy, right?
It's what I realized when you were talking is that in able to do this, we need to have the cojones to look ourselves in the mirror first.
Yeah.
If we cannot do that, then we cannot open up. This also means we need to love ourselves first. Otherwise, we cannot allow the love of somebody else in.
Yeah.
And often that is missing, at least in one of the two, and that's why you see there is, a dysfunctional relationship. Even if it looks like it's nice, it doesn't last when this part is missing, because at a certain moment we will have had enough experience in all the other areas, but if this is not there, then there is something missing, and then everything collapses. So the foundation for a relationship already with yourself is the self-love, and then the inner balance.
Yeah,
Then you can
and
be with somebody.
absolutely, and that comes with the sexual intimacy with self, right? It's just so important. And I personally believe, and it's part of my teachings, that you need to be sexually intimate with yourself first to get to know yourself, to get to know your needs, to get to know your flame within, and awake this fire within you to feel sexually attractive for women, to feel that you own your sexuality and that you really acknowledge at the same time, the divine priestess, the highest priestess that so many women come here to embody within themselves on the unique pathway to love, to expand the divine presence within. So the sexual intimacy with self is as equally important as intimacy with others.
If you cannot be intimate with yourself, how do you want to be intimate with somebody else?
Because the intimation, the sexual intimacy, it really with self, it helps you to explore yourself. It helps you to explore your body, your needs, your desires, really get to know yourself, get to know your yoni, get to know, really yourself on a much deeper level.
But also on the emotional side, um, we see a lot of people running away from the emotions, running away from their fears, from their wounds, which also means they don't appreciate themselves. So if you do not appreciate yourself, let's say loving yourself is one step too far. Start by just accepting yourself, accepting who you are, and then you can start loving yourself. But accepting that, yeah, you have these things that you like, and you have these things you like, but just start by accepting, because that's who you are, and you cannot change something if you don't accept it's there. You can say, I want to work on myself because there are aspects I want to change, but start by accepting that this is how I am, this is my 0 point, I start from here, and then you start working on yourself. And what I've noticed, that my relationships started to improve the more I had worked on myself. Even my sexuality, because I only started working on my sexuality in 2012 when I had a big breakthrough workshop, and then I realized what was going on, and then it took me another 8 years to really resolve everything. But in the meanwhile, things already had been improving, and before that, already relationships started to improve because I started working on myself, started looking myself in the mirror. And yes, it's challenging to look yourself in the mirror. And I encourage people to take a picture of yourself and just cut out this part, make it black and white, put it in front of you and look at it, or print it. But if you don't have a printer, put it in the screen and just look yourself deep in the eyes and start discovering yourself. Then you will discover not only the pain, because you may see the pain first and the things you don't like, but then you go deeper and you find the beauty in you. And once you know how great you are, then you can start to radiate that automatically. And then you will start to attract people who appreciate who you truly are. And that's when you can have this for who you
Absolutely.
truly are, not for how your hair looks or your eyebrows or whatever fancy stuff you do with yourself.
Absolutely, and that's beautiful, ancient practice to really improve the level of self-love. It's what you already mentioned, really making love with yourself, but in front of a mirror, really acknowledging your body, the gentle touch within this, and really feeling the present moment and connecting with your sacred heart before all that. And 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 really being the key is to be in the present moment and acknowledging yourself for who you really are in this moment and loving every single part of your body, every single part of your touch and of your move, that really will help you to expand the divine union within and accept more the loving and compassionate relationship with yourself. So that's definitely it's a beautiful way of really expanding the divine union within. And with each of us, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or you're a man, we all desire the intimacy within because we are part of that. It's within us already. We're just denying that by thinking we're not good enough, by thinking we're not worthy of receiving more.
Yep.
But it's there already.
Yeah,
And
but
the
the
more
thing is that society is training us to believe we're not good enough. And that is part of the corporate world wants to keep people running fast for them so they can profit more of them. They will make us buy stuff to feel good. But if we ignore that a little bit, we ignore, let's say, most of social media, we ignore the media in general, and we start spending more time with ourselves, going in nature, for example, even if it's just going into a park or sit in your garden, and we connect with self and with nature around us, then we start to see what's really important for us. And then we discover that connection, true connection, is important. Not having 1,000 friends on Facebook. No, having a few people that you really spend good time with. And eventually that number can start to grow. The more you connect in here, the more you meet people who connect from here. And that's also how you have a higher chance of meeting somebody with whom you can experience the divine union, because you start to standard connect from here. Like you and I, we connected quickly from here. And I refuse to connect with people if I cannot connect from here. I'm like, okay, next. Who's in line? Who wants to really connect from here? Because the superficial is what leads to us losing sight of who we are, ourselves, but also the people around us.
we're just having comment. Nina, she wrote beautiful webinar, and thank you. Thank you, Nina. It's great to have you here. Let us share a little bit more about the sexual intimacy with others, because that's obviously it's something that reflects with every single one of us, and it's a big part of our journey. And I just feel that there is still more we can explore. So let me tell you first that sexual intimacy with others is as important and as equally brings value to our divine union relationship within as sexual intimacy with self. And as we established already, it's good to reconnect with yourself, to get to know yourself more and really explore that sexuality and sensuality, right? It's being sensual for women and for men if they feel like it also, and owning the sexuality, right? So the sexual intimacy with self is really good for that. And with others, it also applies to this. And there is a difference that we're actually interacting with another person that is outside of us, right? So what happened next is that we feeling that presence of the divine union on a physical level. When it happens, this sexual, right, the intercourse, when it happens, we're feeling and exploring the divine union on a physical level. And this masculine in this moment of time, it's part of the masculine energy field within you right now. So the most important part of that is to really reconnect from a pure heart desires and really create strong intimacy with that person before you actually have a sexual intercourse. Because then, what you already mentioned, right? Then you actually exploring more the intimacy with that person through the divine union, through more joy, through deeper connection, right? And Yeah, what can you say about this? You already touched upon that, but I just felt that there's something still we got to explore in here.
Actually, I noticed something
Yeah.
during this talk. I noticed still some tension in me, and I also can sense a tension in you. And I was wondering where's this coming from, and I went to feel, and I realized there is so much taboo on the subject. And even though when you and I we talked one on one, we were totally free and we could share experiences and talk about how we feel things, what it does with us. We were totally free, and somehow knowing that other people are also watching put some kind of pressure. And I just felt like we need to say this out loud, because generally when you say, okay, there is that
Exactly.
elephant in the room, it's there, look at it, then it goes away. And
Yeah, and guys, I definitely want to mention that I admire you because it's really the first time that you actually shared such an intimate stories, right? Of your own stories in the public. So I really honor
yeah,
you for that, for sharing and feeling so brave. So thank you, and you deserve, claps and hearts from our audience because obviously it is subject taboo, still is for so many of us, and there's different layers to that also. So, but the world needs to hear the truth. The world needs to really open to the divine union and the intimacy from really pure space, through the innocence, through pure essence that exists within our sacred hearts, because then we will shift the value of life and really expand the divine union within us. And thank you for sharing this, because definitely, it's good to address emotions and yeah, what's happening.
yeah, and I would like to share what happened actually in the past 2 weeks, because it was 2 weeks ago that you suggested to do this live, and you texted me, and I replied back, yes, while everything in my body was screaming, big fear. And then I really had to go deeper and start to feel, okay, what is causing that fear? What will certain people think? And then I was like, I don't give a shit about what people think in general. So why am I caring now? And I had to go deeper through the different layers. And then I found the ancestral blockages. I found blockages that were still there in me. And I had a few friends who helped me through this. And yeah, I mean, I think before the weekend it was already all gone. It took me less than 2 weeks to completely go through all the layers and really clean it out. And when you asked me today, yeah, how are you? And I was like, yeah, I'm relaxed. I'm fine. I was just waiting, like, yeah, when can we start? I was already walking this afternoon, talking with a friend of mine, also about the subjects of today. And I will have a recording with her. I will not do them live, but I will do recordings and upload. And she will have some very interesting perspectives to share as well. And so I was already completely in the mood. I was like, oh, I need to wait till 10 o'clock my time. Oh gosh, so late. Okay, what can I do in the meanwhile? So I started playing with the graphics and stuff. So I came up with the graphics I sent you, and that's
Yeah,
what people see afterwards.
beautiful. And yeah, I mean, the same was for me. I've been going through my own,
Yeah, share,
layers that
share
I've
about
been
that, because
shredding.
is this your first time that you're so open in public
No,
about?
because I'm part of Divine Leadership Talk, so that was the first time. But for me, it's the Divine Union. So for me, it's basically the Divine Union was fear within this, to collaborate with the masculine energy. That was for me
But
something to
what
share
was
the
the
value.
fearful part about it?
It was really accepting the divine union within. for me, for me, as creating this show was intention that I accept the divine value within the masculine and feminine for my unique heart desires, which means stepping more and opening up more to my unique heart desires, owning, the leadership of my sacred heart. So that's because of that, I, there was some emotions coming up. But coming back to the topic, we're already 47 minutes. Yeah, so the sexual intimacy with others, it's really a big part of how we set up the space before we actually come to making love, to the act of union, right? Because when on a physical level, two uh, two people, right, the feminine and masculine energy meet, and they start to make a love. They they creating a sacred union within that actually it creates a ripple effect on many levels, because we are energy, and as a woman, we actually, when we open our yoni and welcome the lingam, we actually receive her at this moment, which means that we are receiving the energy from the masculine. And when you create a space in a certain way, it might allow you to really shift the value and the energy between both sides and create more harmonious relationship and sexual exploration, sexual intimacy between both of them.
Yes,
So
you also create healing,
yeah, we
heal
can.
wounds. And related to that, I realized one time while making love that I was not just making love with my girlfriend, but I really felt I was making love with all the women of the world. And I realized it was not me, it was the masculine connecting with the feminine and letting that energy that you were just describing flow through.
Yeah,
So when you really can reach that sacred moment together, it's expanding and the ripple effect is going outwards and spreading over the whole planet. And that's
yeah,
what people should know actually, that we can help heal the planet. And that's why they often say, and people think, yeah, it's just some saying, uh, don't don't make war, make love. I think Michael Jackson said it actually. But people didn't realize that literally making real love has a ripple effect on the rest of the world.
yeah. You can
You
heal the
heal
masculine and
the
feminine.
feminine.
Yeah, you can heal the masculine and feminine energy within us at the same time, so we can expand the divine union within that. And but there is a way that we can set up a space for a certain intention to flourish during the sex. And the way to set up the space is really to reconnect with your higher self first before you can create a sacred space, obviously light candles, sensual music, some sensual atmosphere, some essence, a smell, to really increase the intimacy. That is really beautiful way of setting up space to really increase the the sacredness of the pure act of divine union that's happening right now, and in the collaboration with the sex, and uh, and within that, um, setting intention, really intention, what would you like to receive throughout this act, and within that space you can start slowly exploring yourself, together with your partner, and for for women it's good to be more in the flow, because that's the energy of the feminine. It's the sensual flow that creates really this, um, that awakens the fire, and at the same time awakens the lingam within, and and for the masculine, it really just to be and really embrace the feminine essence, and then just go with the flow, whatever just is in this moment, whatever they intuitively feel, they want to explore each other, and this is creates a really beautiful journey of really embracing the divine sacred act of divine union. And yeah, that's creates just another level of exploring sexual intimacy between two people.
You said, you described creating a setting with the
Mm-hmm.
candles and the essence, and I realized that it's not just about sexuality. It's not yet about sexuality when we do this. But what we actually are doing is grounding ourselves, getting back in our bodies, because we are so much up here.
Mm.
And in order to feel, we need to be up here. And if we want to connect sexually, we need to be down there on the second chakra. So the smells make us become aware of where we are, and we start focusing on something physical, out of the mind. The dimmed light is also slowing down the mind again. The music, peaceful music, is doing the same, is calming down. So an exercise that you could do if you feel like let's say two people will have sex or make love for the first time. Generally they're nervous. Like, okay, I'm not sure what he likes, and will I be good enough, and am I wearing the right underwear or whatever? And then I realized that the first time I actually made love, that was what happened. So what you need to do actually then is just to do a short meditation. Just ground, just relax. And don't think about all the things you have to do, because you don't have to do anything. Lovemaking is not about doing this and then that and then that and then that and then you finish with it. No, that's total bullshit. You can start at any point and stop at any point. But what you need to do is to be really in the here and now,
Yeah.
in your body, calm, not thinking about work or whatever. So if you have things on your mind, write them down. It's like before going to sleep. If you want to sleep well, write down what you still need to do so you can forget about it. And it's on a paper on your desk in the morning. The same with lovemaking. Empty. And then be really in the here and now and do the meditation together. Maybe just hold hands or just touch only a pinky, whatever it is, or sit next to each other, only your knees are touching. And just be in that space. And then you will calm down. And before you know, from the meditation, you will slowly start to melt together in whatever way it is. But from a point of peace, deep peace, and you will realize you just want to put your hand on the other person's knee, and that's enough. And maybe you'll just sit like that for half an hour. It's just being happy the person is there and just feeling each other. Lovemaking is not about moving. It's not even about how much surface contact do you have. I mean, some people literally think in that way, like you need to be completely connected or you need to go as deep as you can in the other. It's not about that.
I think the
Sometimes
most
just being
important,
together is enough.
yeah, is to really be in the flow and just see what you feel in the present moment. And the present moment is really the key, because that's when we connect with our unique field, with our unique heart desires, and even the sexual intercourse when you're making love with another person, it's when you actually explore that connection within the present moment, that's you enter just another layers of intimacy with that person, or within yourself, if you exploring that connection with self.
Yes, you have to let go of the expectations that are set by, I don't know, magazines you've read or programs you've watched, or even what your partner is saying, and especially your own expectations. And I talk from experience when I say my best lovemaking was completely different from what I expected that would happen that day. Because I let go of the expectation at certain moment. I was really in the moment, and that's why I had beautiful experiences.
Yeah.
Even though I thought, oh, I would like to do this and I would like to do that, didn't do any of those things. Other things happened, but in the end, it was so great that up to 48 hours, I was feeling the energy in me still flowing. Well, before, when it was empty sex, within 10 minutes, total emptiness, hunger, wanting more sex or wanting to eat or needing some new source of excitement. So when you see somebody starting a cigarette after lovemaking, after they finish, that's not a good sign. Then you know something is missing, because if you still have that energy flowing, there's no need for cigarettes. Because when you are inside each other, I don't think that most people pick a cigarette while they're still moving, because they're in that flow. So when you're really in the flow continues afterwards. And then you don't need anything. You don't even feel hunger. Yeah, you may be hungry afterwards, but not in the first 10, 20, 30 minutes, because you're still in the union. This reminds me of a live webinar I saw, and I will link on my wall to it, where a guy was explaining about the quantum relationship in the intimacy and the lovemaking, and he said when people connect, there is a quantum entity created. So also during lovemaking and due to intimacy, there is an entity created, and that entity lasts even after the relationship breaks up. So with everyone you have been having some kind of relationship with, there is still that energy. And that's why sometimes you meet somebody or you think of somebody, stuff comes back to you. It's not just memories. It's because that connection is still there. So
That's why you're
for
picking
example, I
up on
still
each
know.
other. And
Yes. And you can still connect through that. The energy can still flow through that connection. So sometimes you see that people still love each other, although they're not lovers anymore and they don't feel like being together. But there is not this hate like, oh, it's my ex, so it's a bad person, I should burn everything from that person, what people sometimes say. That's just them not accepting who they are themselves, and they hate themselves, so they project on somebody else. But the balance inside brings peace. Also, when the paths separate.
I think that's a beautiful way to really summarize our talk today. And the sexual intimacy is so important with each other and with self and others, and yeah, so and it's important to remember that within us there is divine alignment already. It's nothing that we need to find it. It's nothing that we have to. It's nothing that we have to fix. We just need to. We only need to increase the value of the divine presence within us. It's literally like, like there's this lack, and we're just increasing through the second. We will be talking much more about different ways of increasing the value, but within this topic is really increasing through the sexual intimacy with self and others, really raising this light, this unique frequency of our sacred heart by really embracing the sexuality within us and acknowledging this as a divine light and blessings of the divine for us to explore this co-creation through the ecstasy of life, ecstasy of the beauty, inner beauty within us, and in collaboration, co-creation with others.
Before we finish, maybe you want to share from your side what your intention is, because this is the first live in a series. So maybe you want to prepare people for what's coming.
Yeah, before I go there, I just want to invite you guys. I will post the link to Lotfi page on the top of it after this webinar. or it will be in the comment. Actually, it will be in the comment, and
So what's
so
your plan? What's your
go
plan?
and check. Yeah, go and check his Facebook page, because you're going to do talks also, right? You're
Yes,
going
yes,
to do
but
your own
tell us what
talks.
you're gonna do, because it was your idea first, and you had had a plan, and I got inspired. So share your plan first,
So
because
my
you want to
plan
talk
with
to other
this,
people as well. You
yeah,
said so.
my plan with this is, as I mentioned already, to really increase the value within us by expanding the divine union within, and really bringing this oneness between the feminine and masculine energy, because we are one, we are no separate, we're no different. And I think at this time on this planet there is so much separation between a woman and a man in the relationships, that we're just so different, that we are from a different planets. But that's actually just an illusion of the mind, because we're part of one, we're part of the divine presence. And for most of women who really feel the calling to make a difference in this world through love, they've come here to expand the divine union within, because they will be, yeah, and acknowledge the highest priestess within them, because that's where really pure divine I am presence comes into our lives. So that's my intention, really, to explore the
And how
union
will you do
within
that?
us.
You said you wanted to interview several men. You said
Yeah, so basically each topic each week on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. UK time, I will be having this type of conversations with different men, uh, just to really with the intention that with each topic we both sides will be exploring in alignment with our unique heart. So like that we create a harmony between us. And the next week it's another friend of mine, Arush, and the topic of the next week talk is Alchemy of Attraction. That's going to be really interesting, fascinating. I'm really excited about this topic because I love the alchemy. I absolutely in love with alchemy of the divine presence of love. And yeah, so stay tuned. Come back here next week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. and go and check out Lotfi page, because you're going to do also your talks, right? Do you want to share?
yes. I will be mostly doing recordings, I believe, so I can record them throughout the week, and then either on Thursdays or Fridays I will upload them. I don't know yet exactly when, but I will find a schedule in that. And I will be talking mainly with women to start with, and I already have a few who said yes, a few already who set a subject, and the different subjects. Still, some women in the
Do you
process of
know?
asking.
Do you
Hmm?
know where you're gonna have your first one?
Uh, I believe I will have the recording on Friday, so I may, if it's early enough, will be able to upload it Friday evening.
So next Friday, cool. And
Yes,
this Friday,
so
no, what's
that's
today?
what I'm
I
gonna
don't
try
know.
to do. I'm not
Tuesday,
sure
this
if I'm
coming
gonna
Friday.
manage. Sorry?
This coming Friday, right?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. So if the universe is aligned with my plans, or no, if I'm aligned with the
If you
universe
are
plans,
aligned with your plans, the universe is always
yes.
in alignment. I mean, we're always in alignment
Maybe ask
anyway.
the
It's just
universe
not
to
always
align as well, a
the
little bit.
alignment is what we want. Yeah.
And it will be different subjects because the women are very different. And I know one of them wants to talk about also the abuse in sexuality
Yeah.
and where it comes from and what it leads to.
That's a
And
really
sexual
interesting
abuse
topic.
is very common. It's
Hmm.
unfortunately is so widespread on I mean both sides of the genders, on all kind of ages and different circumstances. Um, one of them wants to talk about
So what's the next one coming? The Friday one, what's the topic?
I don't know. I need to check the list. I will be announcing. I will be posting.
That's beautiful. Anyway, guys, so go and check Lofi page, follow him to see his conversations. That will be also really fascinating and exciting because we've come here to share lots of wisdom with us all. So definitely check him out. And if you're new here, don't forget to follow Annelle page, my page for new Divine Union interactive chat, and so we all can expand and really awaken the highest priestess within us, ladies. Sending you lots of love and blessings, and thank you very much. Thank you, Rafi, and
Thank
I
you.
see you next week. Guys, lots of love. Thank you, Nina.